Maybe we should put a mic on Blitz so you can just hear all the licking.
Leave him alone.
Leave him alone. No, he bullies me all the time. Hey.
Come here.
You want me to go? Come up?
Feet up. Yeah.
Sit down.
You could just stand in the middle. There you go. You need a little microphone.
Okay. So I'll just sit under the table and you guys can talk the whole time. Look at your shirt. So wait, this I already had pulled it up because I had to find it. It says, "How old is your pooch? He should have a crown for being the goodest boy." And I did not tell Matt to wear that shirt, but when I read that question, I did think about it. I forgot to remind you to wear that shirt, and you wore it anyway. That's how crazy the world works. Blitz is 5 and like a half now?
5.5.
5.5 years old. And he has calmed down. He was a wild boy as a puppy. Chill.
He still has
Podcast
his
time.
moments. He goes hard.
It's just
Usually in the afternoon.
Wears him out.
Bursts. And chasing.
Blitzy boy
backyard.
is the goodies boy, and you do need a crown.
Cast! Matt and Becca!
How's it going, peeps? Welcome back to another episode of the No Regrets podcast. It is me, Becca. It is that Matt. And Blitz is right there. You guys just saw him. How are you guys doing today? How are you doing today? Why does that start the same way every single time?
Why do you ask me?
You get the cutest, like, rosy smile when you're like, what do I do with my hands? Blitz, stay out of the lost and found over there. No, how are
Why
you
is right
guys?
now the first time you've asked me how my day is going?
I say, this is the problem with the podcast. Here we go.
It's 2:30.
I say,
Why don't
whoa,
you
it
wait?
is a lot later. We usually do this in the morning, but I had to eat. We had our new bed delivered to the house and then within 10 minutes taken away from the house because it was missing a part. So it's been a funky Thursday. This is my honest answer to the question you just asked me of why is it 2:30 p.m. and I'm just now asking you how you're doing. I save a lot of feelings for the podcast on Thursday. Sometimes I purposefully hold in information
that's why it's so
on
weird
Thursday
because
morning.
you never look at me and go, "How is your day?"
Are you saying I just do that for the camera?
Yeah.
That's true, I guess.
Well, we are pretty much. We work together. We're around each other almost 24/7, so we kind of already know how each other's day is going. Just talking about
That's
stuff.
the weird thing about the gym life that we live, at least the type of life that we live. Like, we are around each other all the time, but we're always like, one person's coaching, and then I'm training in between, and then we're flip-flopping places, and then I do love our 3 p.m. workout time before the afternoon classes start rolling. Sometimes we'll do a workout together, sometimes we'll do separate workouts. But, yeah, you see, I don't need to ask how you're doing until we get to the podcast. I withhold the information on Thursdays.
That's why I look sheepish, is because I'm. This is weird.
Okay. And we have a good one today. I was just thinking, because I got so excited last week that the podcast was back. I was like, why do I like the podcast so much? Because one of my love languages is quality time. And I do think this is quality time where we're actually doing the same thing together. And then, yeah, I think that's why I like doing the podcast. I like spending some quality chit-chat time with you.
And the Homigos.
And the Homigos. That's why I'm excited. We're back on episode 2 of the second season. Really, it's like episode 37 of the podcast. So, getting challenging when I'm asking for questions because we get some repeat questions, and I'm like, go back to this episode. All my questions are usually listed out in the description of each of the podcasts. So, sometimes if we don't get to your question, it's probably because we've answered it in the past.
Don't be mad at the newbies.
No, I'm not mad at the newbies.
Welcome, newbies.
Welcome, newbies, new Homigos.
Thank you for the questions. We just
Thank
might not
you.
answer them if we've already got them.
Yes, you got to backtrack a little bit. There's some golden moments in those past episodes that you should go revisit. Anyways, we got to get this one going. Should we get a new dog?
What? Is that a question?
No, I just put it on here. yes, 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 yes. Really, in reality is
If
just
you
having
want
the
to
time to train the dog.
train the dog.
Yes, because I always do. Oh, I'm sorry, Blitz. I just stepped on our current dog. I do want Blitz to have a friend. It's just the time to train them properly, especially if they live the gym life. Like, guys, training Blitz up to live the gym life is only amazing, like, looking back at it. But there was a lot of hard work that was training Blitzy boy to, one, like, know what's going on when the music turns up and people start lifting and everything, and he goes around the gym and sits in his spots and everything, but also not running away. So he has free reign over here. But I would love Blitzy boy to have, especially since we just talked about, like, he's like 5.5. He's like getting up there. He's getting up there. Yeah, I think we should get him a friend.
No, it would be cool to get another dog.
Who else has a Blitz out there? Who else has I don't know. What? Blitz is a spoiled only child too.
Well, that is his biggest issue is
he's always
because
around
he
us.
is always. It's just like our conversation started. We're always together.
Whoa.
Basically, Blitz is always with us. Or at the gym, he's always with people, and so he definitely has some separation anxiety issues.
You know,
being
all
home
dog
alone
owners,
or that sort of thing.
You know, all dog owners have that guilt when you leave your doggy and they give you the puppy eyes. Blitz doesn't give you like puppy eyes. He'll like look at you like, what the F? Like, it's mean. Yeah. Be like, are you going to the gym without me?
I thought we were friends.
I thought we were friends. I thought we were family. I thought we did everything together. Okay, traitor. That is 100% Blitz.
And then he
y'all know if y'all
and then
see,
he'll tear something up.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was getting better, and then he tore up his.
Hey, that's the new
sheets on
training
his
we're supposed to
bed.
be working on.
Even Blitz has his own training to do. Even Blitz. We all have ways to get better.
What do you guys think? New dog?
Dude, you know the Homigos are voting new dog. Blitz needs a friend. He has lots of friends here, but yeah. Man, I've always said, like, I wanna get into like Blitz charity work, doing extra work for like the local shelter and everything. I know I would just adopt up every single dog though. I have no self-control. You totally told me that the other day when it came to car shop. I'm trying to get this guy to buy a new car, and he's like, at least I have self-control. I can walk onto a lot and go shopping and not want to buy it right away. Okay, we're getting so off topic. All right, we were just talking about Blitz's age. And do you have anything else that happened this week? Oh, I was going to talk about training a little bit this week. Okay, training. Decent week. How was your training this week?
Actually, awesome.
Oh, how was it awesome? I want to hear about that.
Because I worked out on Saturday with you. We did a workout together.
Oh, yeah, we did a partner workout.
And I was joking. I was like, wow, that was actually fun because it's everything I'm good at. Or a lot of stuff I'm good at.
Yeah, it was things I wasn't that
So
great
it was fun to be like, oh, when you have those days, those are good. And then I did the partner workout on Monday. And my wrists were feeling good, my joints were feeling good. And I was like, man, fitness is fun when your body's not hurting. So that was good. And then everything else this week has been good.
Nice. Well, that's good.
Yesterday was good.
Nice. All
I was thinking about it yesterday when I was putting up my stuff. I was like, wow, man, I haven't had this good of a week. I'm usually always getting frustrated or...
I can agree with that.
or mad or angry or...
Well, good.
You know,
I'm glad
I have
you
high
had...
expectations, so I get frustrated
Yes,
if it's not perfect.
Competitor. We talked about that last week. Very competitive. I had a good training week too. I was shared on my story that ironically, like I felt like I'm ready to get back into that structured programming. I'm going to talk a little bit on what's next for Big Becca because that was a question that we had too. And man, I wish I knew. I kind of like, in a sense, like I have two. Man, you remember when I was asking you if I have multiple personality disorder? I mean, that's a real thing. But I'm like, I'm that person that, where are you going? I'm that person that is I I swear I try to be a live in the moment person. Like, I don't plan ahead. I like to do things in the moment. If there's something I want to do in the moment, I usually go and do it. But also there's that underlying part of me, the rule follower part of me, that's always like, have a plan of where this is going and everything.
Is that too loud?
But anyways, so I have like those two sides of me that I'm like, live in the moment, just enjoy what you're doing right now. If there's something you want to do right now, go do it, but also like have a plan going forward. So that's where like my two sides of myself just like, but anyway, like I opened up our
You are very strange that way.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong.
Because you have zero plan, like when it comes to making videos, you just have ideas and you just go do them really quick.
But I like want them to have like direction to go with in life, like long term.
Yeah.
But I'm also just like, this is fun. I'm gonna go do that. Let's see where that takes us.
I guess that's some of the longer form stuff you want to be doing. That just takes more planning than the short form stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me like really bad at adulting stuff and not opening my mail. Like I don't open my mail because I don't want to be disappointed by what I see by it. Like it's just sitting there.
That's like just putting your head in the sand. It's not a good thing.
Okay.
What if you have a bill and you're just...
Everything's technology these days, and if it's not set up on automatic payment, then screw it. But we're going with training on this. It just so happened, like I opened up last year's spreadsheet, and I was like, let me look at the first thing we did on this spreadsheet. And it just so happened to be the same week, like this current week that we're in 2024, the same week that we started in 2023, last year. So I was like, man, this must mean like, okay, we had our time to kind of get past like how our 2024 season concluded. And obviously with the games, it concluded in a very strange way. And I'm always so worried about that period of like unstructured programming and what my brain does, because I'll have a week where I'm just like, yeah, fitness, I love it. But then I'm like, just like, do you even want to program for me anymore? Like, should we be doing this? It's like a mess. It's like 1 week here, 1 week there. And I was really ready to get back on structured programming. But it's different. It's really different coming off of this year just because it's up in the air. What happens next? We all like to assume like the same structure of the season is going to come about. We're going to get settled in some way. But reality is like what happened after last year, it's challenging to know what's coming up. And when you already, especially this training, like you know if you're an athlete, like it's hard to walk in here on some training days. And what you use as motivation is the end goal. And for the last so many years, it's been to make the CrossFit Games. And when we made it in 2022, it was to return to the CrossFit Games. And that's the kind of chapter we were on. And coming out off of last year with some of just the craziness and what this next season is going to look like and everything, it's been super, super hard to find that extra kick in the butt that you need to be the best of the best, to be the greatest. And I've had to really get into my head lately, and this week I'm really proud of that. I got into my head and I said, you know what? If the opportunity is there, I love to compete. I still love to compete. I'll look at so many other sports, like when we're watching any documentaries and everything, I'm like, it's so cool to have the opportunity to compete, to work hard, to get better, and be able to show how hard work can create progress. And if we get the opportunity to chase down a big goal this year, like the CrossFit Games, I'm going to do it because I love to compete. And I think it's being an athlete and competing in every which way can put so much like greatness into the world of, if you want something, you work at it and you go do it. You can get yourself there. So I got into my head this week and I was like, you know what? Like it's been a little bit of a struggle. The motivation train has been up and down, but the only reason I've been doing this for this long is because I love to compete. So we're going to keep doing that. And as long as that stays in the front of my brain like this, we're going to do it. So I got onto, like, I looked at that spreadsheet and it made me happy to start like training, and I will be really happy to open up that spreadsheet once we start doing that.
I think you've learned this a little bit through your competition life, and it's interesting this year because there's a curveball there, but you know that to be successful, you have to fall in love and enjoy the process of the training, of the programming, of the doing all the little things with your nutrition, trying to get better about the little things like sleep or different things.
Like sitting down
Is
and
trying
getting
to-
that casein protein.
Yeah, like ultimately, you have to, especially to stay sane, I feel like you have to find ways to enjoy that, like the process of getting better, or like the training, the things that you have to, all the little things that you have to do. But I think that it, like, because you've been there before where you like reach that big end goal and you're just like, oh, why doesn't it feel better?
That's always my biggest fear.
Why doesn't it feel better?
With anything.
Yeah, you're 100% like that. Like, you hit a number on this, or you have this goal to hit this number on Instagram, and you hit it, and you're like, well, whatever.
We passed 400K on Instagram.
Yeah, but my point is, like, you've kind of learned that about yourself in some ways, that you have to find ways, like, you still do the videos, you don't do it for the number, you do it for,
I guess it's fun.
It's fun, and it helps you process, it gives you some comedic relief. You enjoy the back and forth with the community, all that good stuff. So I think you've learned through that, but it's also kind of weird when that end goal, or that end thing that you are training for, that carrot, that you know isn't the end all be all. It's like the stuff you do every day is making you better for whatever. Like, it's just creating the hard work, and all of the little efforts are just creating little opportunities and different things. And you just have to be okay with that. But it is kind of weird when the carrot or the end goal, even though you know it won't bring you the satisfaction that sometimes you expect when you hit that goal, when that's not there, or that's in jeopardy, or that's changed, it does kind of make doing some of the hard stuff hard.
Yeah.
Or more difficult.
Yeah.
And so I think just a change in mindset too, of like reminding ourselves, like, whether it be the CrossFit Games is the same, different, whatever happens, is like, we don't do this. You don't compete just for the sake of attaining I'm a 2-time CrossFit Games athlete, because then that's going to feel hollow at some point. You do it because you love to compete, you love to do it, and it's just like that process of the training and going through it and doing all those hard little things is just creating opportunities for you, even if it's not always the goal we have in mind. There's other things that come from that. So,
man,
I don't know.
I'm fired up to go train right now.
I know that does.
And my back is so
I think that
sore.
is just, that's why these conversations are awesome, like you said, because we can kind of like talk through this together and see that even with that murky, not knowing what the future holds, like kind of that long-term goal being a little bit murky, we can go back to like, okay, what are all the little things, and how do I get motivated and enjoy that process, and set up my training season to really enjoy that, so I get the most out of it. So there you go.
That made me happy. It really is. I was especially like super afraid coming off of how this season ended. Or really just like there's been a couple of, I mean, all the seasons have been hard when you're missing out on your big goal, and then having this recent events happen and everything that I'm just like, oh my gosh, where's my brain gonna go after all this? And it's been like, that's life for you. It's like, it's gonna throw things at you, and you have to learn how to adapt and realize what's truly, dig deep into you, and finding out who you are and how to make yourself less confusing. Like, do the things you love, have a plan. I don't know what I'm.
Hey,
all I know is that it was a good week for that reason. I
will say this to the Homigos. I think you guys are part of the reason why she loves doing it. Seriously.
Oh.
I'm serious. Me too. Like, obviously, when it's so awesome for me to see all the support Rebecca gets when she's out competing, or just like comments on Instagram, or most of them. I think you have to have one of the most positive comment sections.
Dude,
like
man,
our community, that community that you built
thankful.
is awesome.
I'm thankful.
I think I want to give them a shout out too, because it does make it easier when you have a bunch of people that are cheering you on, rooting for you,
You know,
all that good stuff.
one of the questions on here, and we can get into that just because you just brought it up, is how to deal with nasty or ugly comments. And it really is just, it's been, and it, as like our Homigos team continues to grow, like there's that saying out there, more people, more problems. But it's like building the culture like you truly want and that follows your values. And when it comes to like things like ugly comments or nasty comments, and we've been, trust me, in a world of them with all the craziness that's happened, it's just like I keep going back to like, I imagine this person is right in front of me. Like this person's right in front of me. How would I say it to their face? And if it's something that I don't think is gonna put positive things into the world, I'm not gonna do it. Like I want to create this welcoming culture for questions, for learning, for like it still blows my mind because we're in such a big people business, being that we run a gym. It's like we were having a conversation yesterday. We're just like, these people have like completely different personalities, and I see where they're coming from in this, and like people are so amazing and confusing at the same time. We all are. So when it comes to my folks that had the questions of how to deal with hate comments, is honestly, like from a very specific standpoint, I don't respond to them. Because I know those hate comments come from a place of like insecurities and other things that might be going on in a person's life, and I know they're looking for a response, and I just don't encourage that. So I kind of leave it be, and if I see something that really gets under my skin, I'll go respond to a positive comment. Because if they're putting positivity into the world, I want to encourage more of that. So I'll ignore the nasty one and then go find me a positive one that I can put my time and effort into. And then it starts building up that culture of like, that's not welcome here. Good questions and good conversation is welcome here, but tearing other people down, not welcome.
Providing some sort of criticism in the way you go about that versus like a hate comment. But I would say you've got thick skin too. Like
that's the only reason you can be on social media.
In general, not just on social media, but just in life. Like you care a lot about what your family thinks.
I care
a lot about what I think. You care a lot about what a few close gym people think. But then other than that, whoever knows me. You have very thick skin and aren't afraid to be like, whatever.
No, that's because
like,
people
you let it roll off your back.
You never know what's going on in people's lives. You never know. And I think I'm very close to some of the members here at the gym. And then all of a sudden I'll hear something or they share something with me. I'm like, shoot, I didn't know that was going on. Geez, are you okay? Like we're all good friends, but you never know what's going on in people's lives. And when everybody has their moments that nastiness or ugliness comes out, like it happens to everyone. You just got to realize, like, if you're the person on the other side of that nastiness and everything, just realize they're probably going through something. If it continuously happens, something like that, then you can confront and be like, hey, dude, are you okay? But let's figure this out because this ain't acceptable. But yeah, I think it comes down to what I care about most is what you think of me, what my family thinks of me, because those are the people that know me. And then if you want to get to know me, like, do it in a way that's not nasty and everything. So I'll be more welcoming to that. But social media just makes it so easy to converse with people. And I love that about it. And as like my pages have grown, it's gotten harder and harder to just like keep that in the forefront of my mind. Is like, I think there's a lot of positivity, and especially in this time coming off of just CrossFit specific, there's been a lot of negativity, and it's been messing with my brain a little bit. I'm just like, for every like negative thing I feel like I have to say, I'm gonna go try to put a positive spin, put positivity out there. That's what I feel like I can do, at least from my personality, what you guys see. And I hope it does help people laugh and feel good. If it helps one person feel better throughout the day, I think it's worth it. So that's a little bit more social media specific, just talking about dealing with nasty comments. So it's definitely, it doesn't get any easier though. When you start getting bigger and bigger accounts, it gets crazy out there, and I'm just like, man, some people got some balls.
In a way, it does though. Your skin gets thicker, and you just realize like how many just trolls there are to deal with.
Y'all wanna be really real for a second, homigos? Y'all wanna be really real for a second? We still every now and then some rando comes along and wants to get onto our relationship. Hi, if you didn't know, we're married. For you guys that were asking, hi, we're married. We have a 20-year age gap. Okay?
Did someone ask that this week?
Yeah, so I get that question every single week just because there's new homigos that want to know. Going through that process of opening up our relationship to everyone, man, that was hard. Just because it was like my heart, your heart, and we were just checking on each other, and that's why, man, I'm so proud of our relationship these days because it's 100% built on trust in each other and just respect for like our value. Like we have similar values, and that's how it's worked. But that was rough. So if anything comes up, and I'm like, psh, we made it through that, and we came out strong because of that. Just what we talked about last week. When you get through those moments, and you get back on the train and start going back uphill and everything, you look at some things in the past and you're like, that was nothing. It made me stronger, and we're going forward because of it. So, man, this podcast got deep. I was going to talk about dogs the whole time. I'm 24. I don't know why people be asking me how old I am these days, because I guess I'm starting to look a lot older. No, I got a comment the other day. Speaking of comments, we should just do a whole episode of bringing up Instagram comments, because that would be amazing. Dude, that would be a great segment.
Yeah.
That would be a great segment. I bet that would get
You could find someone to probably curate them too. Like
Okay.
go through and pick the good ones for us.
That's a good segment. Okay. But someone commented the other day, I can't tell if she's 13 or 30 or 33. And I go, what does that even mean? And there really are some faces that I make on Reels or some like video angles that, plus I'm like very petite, so I'll always have that look. You look kind of like younger, small, like I'm very small, like younger side, but then you can't really tell on some of the videos, and I make like this ugly ass face. And they're like, then I look like I'm 50 years old. So I like laughed so hard at that comment.
Yeah.
But
plus, you're just like,
don't look at me like that. You're like,
how old looking at you like that? No, how old are you?
Wait, I do that to him all the time. I'm like, what?
No, I would say
I'm dying.
the people that follow you enough are like your real fans. You are wise beyond your years. You have a lot of old lady qualities.
I don't know what I'm gonna be when I'm actually an old lady. I'm worried for that. You should be worried for that too. Get off my lawn. Follow the rules. What are you doing? Will I ever have to wear glasses? That's gonna be a train wreck if I have to wear glasses one day. I've never gotten my eyes checked. You haven't probably gotten your eyes checked since since the Air Force Academy.
2020.
How long has that been? How old are you? His birthday's coming up. He's going to be 45. What should we get him? A new dog. A new dog. Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm 24. Okay, I'm sorry I look old in some angles. Jeez. Next question. We're in these questions. We're jumping all over the place. Is there a such thing as overtraining?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, 100%.
I
We
would
actually
say,
had a little talk about that last week.
Yes.
So not to recap all of that, but yes.
Well, that was really more like just volume and not doing enough intentional training. But overtraining, I would say, is real. I don't think I've heard it's. This is. I don't
Mentally and physically.
I don't know who I'm stealing this from. I've heard this said before. Most people don't overtrain; they under-recover.
Oh,
So
shoot.
most
And on
people-
that note, I need to leave.
Yeah. Yeah,
Me.
when you
This
get
is
beat
the
up
worst
at the
my
end of the
body
week,
has ever felt.
You're under recovering. Like most people aren't. It's all the other stressful things. It's the lack of sleep. It's the other things that you're doing. That is, causing the issue, or like we just think like, oh, I only did this much workout. Why do I feel this way? Well, you only got 5 hours of sleep and you were stressed out at work and then you had a fight with a friend. I don't know. You have all this stuff building up, or you have something going on with your job at work and you're trying to meet a sales deadline or something. All of that stress comes into play when it comes into being able to recover from your training. So I would say the majority of people aren't overtraining, they're under recovering, or they're doing their parts of the recovery life are not in place, and that's what's causing them to feel like they're overtraining.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I really like undervalue from being an athlete my whole life is people, especially when you come in here and people are getting used to like their health and fitness and doing actual athletic exercise things and everything that haven't been an athlete their whole life before, is I am one with my body. And Caleb always comes in here, he's like, how's your chi? I'm like, I think it's good. How's your chi? But I'm like,
Be like water.
There are some weeks, and I still like go back and forth on the whole, am I being a baby, or does my body actually like need this rest and recovery and everything? And you're always trying to assess that. And so many people don't know like what that feels like just yet. Because when I have those weeks where I'm just like working out and performing like crap, I'm just like, man, my body's telling me it's overworked.
Last
it's
Saturday,
like,
guys, she didn't get up. At the end of a long week of training and coaching and doing everything she does, she was like, instead of getting up to
come here
and be here at 7, so get up at like 6, she slept in. She came here at 9, and she was like, oh my gosh, my training was so good today. Well, when you get 2 extra hours of sleep, that helps.
Wow, were you just like over here just like proving points and everything? Yeah. Okay. Sometimes I just want to be a hypocrite on this podcast. I'm just kidding. No, I that is something. You kind of get good at knowing. You'll have some moments where you're like, yeah, you need to push through and stop being a baby and push yourself like so you can get stronger. But then there's this kind of distinct feeling of just like, man, if I'm consistently having like days and training days that are just crappy feeling, yeah, I probably need to spend a day recovering. And I like when you said you had a good week of training, and just because your body felt good, like your knees felt better, your wrists felt better and everything, those are such great, valuable training weeks. And when someone's like consistently, when we know you're overtrained and you're consistently getting bad training days in, I just go back to telling people like, try to find what it's like to have fun with training and feel good at training. Because when you get overworked, you like forget that feeling. It leaves your brain. You're just like, I don't remember the last time I felt good doing a workout. That probably means you're overworked.
I think that's a hard part for you when we get into more of the straight training and straight-based stuff is, and I try to do a good job of balancing that as far as weaknesses we know we want to work on, and we're going to work a lot on them. But you have to have some days where it's like you get to do something fun. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise it's just like, it's hard to be like, oh, I got to get stronger, and just constantly be doing things that you're not as good at.
Yeah.
I think that's important to always have that balance of like, hey, work your weaknesses, but it's okay to have a day where you're like doing all the fun stuff.
Yeah, I've probably already admitted this somewhere on one of our episodes of the podcast, but I would not be able to train and compete the way I do without you and your programming and your coaching. Like, we make the perfect team because we're married. I'm just kidding. The perfect team. Because like when I'm on unstructured programming right now and I'm like, my body feels like crap, is because you're like, go do what you want to do. And then I start working on weakness. I got to do this because I suck at this. I got to do this because I suck at this. And then I literally like keep doing those same things and I wear myself down and I'm not feeling good. Whereas we
need to take some time and rest your shoulder.
No, yes, but hey, it's getting there. It's getting there. But you do such a good job, and I mean, obviously, you've coached me through my whole entire CrossFit career, so you do know how kind of like my body language in there, and I try not to complain as much as I feel like I want to sometimes, just because like that communication between us of, yes, we're doing what we need to do to smash weaknesses in the face and everything, but not get overtrained or overworked. It's probably the hardest balance of this sport.
That's the off season is like definitely the hardest time.
Yeah.
Just like giving your body a chance to take a break from certain things, not pulling away from certain movements, and realizing too, like both of our goals is like the mindset of, you're not just going to compete one more year. I mean, anything could change at any time, but it's like trying to have some longevity in your competitive career.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting so old. I remember when I was coming out of the teenage divisions, I'm like, I got 10 years until I'm like at my peak, so we got to like save and be smart.
What was it like last week? You were calling.
Gosh.
We were talking about Shelby, and you're like, yeah, she's a teenager, and I was like, no.
No, hey, it came out that way, but I meant like we were teenagers, like competing together. Man, if you're, I hold some sort of like title of being like the OG teenagers of the sport.
Oh, because you guys were the first time.
We're not teenagers anymore. We're old. Hi, Shelby. She's a beast. She's a beast. Okay. Yes, there is a such thing as overtraining. It's part of being an athlete and part of the puzzle of pushing limits, doing it in a way that, and you teeter-totter over that line of, did we push hard enough? Did we push too hard? Blah, blah, blah. That's training for you. And that's where it actually gets a little bit fun,
and you do,
too.
And any kind of progressive overload or any sort of like linear progression type of training, you're going to have weeks where you push that boundary of what your body can handle, and then hopefully you have a deload week or something worked in there to where you can get the super compensation response from the training. But that's a hard thing to work in, or I don't know how many people are doing that. That's really important, because even those deload weeks can sometimes feel like, I got to be working on my strength or whatever it is, when that's your weakness.
Yeah,
and some people, like, that deload week needs to be, taking time off their shoulders if they're getting just good at doing a high volume of chest to bars or muscle ups or something like that.
Yep. This is such a good thing, and I do want you to do an episode of where we just talk about your programming. I still have it marked on here.
I'll do my own.
You're just gonna take control. Okay, you're just gonna do your own. I'll leave.
No,
Bye.
you could be on it. You could be on it.
No.
It's just a separate podcast. Or
Do my own podcast.
Another Bolt podcast.
Okay. Last thing before we get to Coach Jen's question of the week. That was a lot of good training talk, so I hope that helped you guys out. We're both currently having deodorant issues. How's your deodorant situation? I'm having like a really
I think I've gotten used to it.
Your armpits are not gooey, as you were saying.
Well, it hasn't been as hot either.
He switched to natural deodorant. How many people vote metals in their deodorant? How many people vote natural deodorant? Because
I mean, I did say I felt like I had been living a lie.
Your whole life, because your armpits got sweaty.
Because I had regular, like my aluminum, the one that has everything bad for you in it.
Which is
works
drying
perfectly.
off your pit. He was admitting to me that his armpits aren't sweaty, just naturally. And really, you were just putting metals all over your armpits.
I was like blocking my pores. And then I finally had this natural deodorant, which works, but it does you feel more moisture. There's more moisture in there, and it's really uncomfortable, and I'm kind of getting used to it, but it doesn't smell bad. But it is uncomfortable, and I just am realizing that is a normal state of being, I guess. I never knew existed.
He's 45 years old and he's figuring this out.
It's weird. But no, that's what I'm saying. And I liken it to food. There's people that have never eaten real food their entire life.
Oh, he's gonna get all philosophical on you because of his deodorant.
Yeah.
But so your girl has the most sensitive skin in the world. If you haven't figured that out or accused me of steroids because of my skin, that's hurtful. That's hurtful. But my deodorant has been like breaking my armpits out. So I tried like the spray deodorant. And that stuff turns like instantly into like baby powder. And like just dries. Like if you ever just want to dry something up, you just put spray on like
I have my
deodorant.
spray.
Dude, I don't like it. I don't like it. So
Dr.
if you
Scholl's that I use for my wristbands
okay,
and stuff.
I'm putting a help request out there. I want a deodorant that's soft on your skin, but doesn't get gooey like your deodorant and doesn't turn into like baby powder when you like spray it on you. I just need help. It's been going on since the games, like since my armpits have been itchy. I've been like working out and being like, because my armpits.
Were you just doing the
are
Running
itchy.
Man?
I've been running faster because it like helps my
You're doing like the Running Man.
armpits.
You know the Running Man, the dance?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So if you ever catch me running
Most
faster,
people think I'm dancing. I'm just itching my armpits.
no, most people think I'm running faster, but it's just like itching my armpits. Help me. Coach Jen's question of the week. Woo! If your hometown was a food, what would it be? Now, I don't know what my hometown is. Is it Capel? Is it here? Or is it like where I actually like was born and like, but I lived most of my life in Capel, so I guess it's Capel. Your hometown is Capel, so you answer it like Capel.
No, I moved here in 8th grade.
Okay, you're Midland.
Well, I don't know. I would consider it, I don't know.
Okay, you do Capel. Well, let's do 2. Actually, let's do 3. Let's do Midland, Capel, and then I was born in New Orleans, but lived mostly in Baton Rouge, so we'll just do a Louisiana general one. Okay, if your hometown was a food, what would it be in Midland?
A Rosa's
People don't know.
fajita with,
That's just a taco or a Mexican restaurant.
yeah, with queso.
Why?
Because I feel like it has to have some, be a Mexican, Tex-Mex food.
Okay.
And Rosa's is just like a famous
And
place from West Texas.
And
And
tortillas
my
are
family's-
flat,
and big,
and Midland is flat.
oh, tortillas. Rosa's
flat.
Tortilla Company.
There, it's a tortilla. Midland is a tortilla. You hear that, Ariel? You probably don't watch this, but you guys live on a tortilla. Okay, we'll do Louisiana or Baton Rouge slash New Orleans. So it's probably going to be something that's fried.
I thought you'd say Uncle Pat's Jambalaya.
Uncle Pat's Jambalaya. Try out Uncle Pat's Jambalaya. I'm supposed
It's a
to be.
sponsor. Why doesn't he sponsor the podcast?
Yeah, what, Uncle Pat, why don't you sponsor my podcast? We're actually working on that. His gumbo mix slash seasoning.
Oh, I said Jambalaya Gumbo, sorry.
Gumbo mix slash seasoning he's been working on is growing. Is growing. So maybe we'll be sponsored by Uncle Pat's Gumbo Mix. That's actually my real uncle and his gumbo mix. So we'll call it that. And then finally, Capel, the big one. This is where we're at right now. I have no idea. Oh my gosh, what would Capel be? Capel is like
The most famous.
a fancy, something that you think is fancy, but is not that fancy.
What?
Like Capel is like it's a pretty done up little city,
Yeah.
but it's not like South Lake done up. Those are the rich people. That's like a Lamborghini driving around every corner. Capel not be like that. Capel be like nice.
The most famous
But
food
not like that.
to come out of Coppell is the stub.
No, you can't
The
like
stub at the
just
Coppell
pick
Deli.
the most famous
If you're ever
food.
in Coppell,
it's
guys.
the food that represents Coppell.
Okay.
Like a tortilla is Midland. Gumbo mix.
So you're
is
saying kind of like a fancy.
a general food. Don't be like the stub. People don't know what the stub is.
They should. You should come to Coppell and I'll take you.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's like an old-fashioned donut. Like they're so
No.
good when you eat them, but they're like
It is not.
no.
like an
It's
old-
actually kind of like that's the opposite of an old. What's the opposite of an old-fashioned donut? Because I was about to say like old-fashioned donuts look like crusty, but Capel don't look crusty. It's actually the opposite. Okay, so I take that back. It's not an old-fashioned donut. It is like.
It's a pork chop. If you go to the steakhouse,
It is
they
like
have
a
like the
pork
high
chop.
end, but then the pork chop is great. is just as good sometimes. But
That's
it's not the most expensive thing on the menu. But it's fancy, kind of.
Capella's a pork chop. Like, they're good. They're not as fancy as them steaks, but it's good. All right.
Hope no one's offended by that.
No,
I love pork chops.
I love pork chops too. We make great pork chops. They're good.
You don't let me put
They're
fruit on
better
them,
than
though.
steak sometimes. Just South Lake is a steak. The overcooked steak.
The
I have
steak
nothing
that's
against
like-
South Lake. I really don't. They're like Capella and the
Yeah,
high
or
schools
like
are
high school
rivals.
rivalries, yeah.
So there you go. All right, that's a wrap. Thank you guys for all your questions. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I guess we'll work on getting Blitz a crown. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.